So welcome everyone, nice to have you. So today's topic is Don't Worry, Be Happy. Very famous song, very good song too. Sounds really good. Don't worry, be happy. If someone tells you don't worry, feels good, right? Feels like that person is really caring for you. They don't want you to worry. But if you really consider these two words, then this is an order. Don't worry. The other person is telling you that you should not feel what you feel, namely worrying. I think in this room there is absolutely nobody, and amongst all those people who are listening to this online also, I'm absolutely sure there is nobody there that doesn't know what worrying is. So it means that worrying seems to be a natural part of human life. It's a very normal thing to worry, isn't it? We all worry sometimes. And then if someone comes and says, don't worry, it feels like that's the right thing to do, right? When your friend is worrying, you would tell your friend, don't worry, it's going to be fine. Almost comes out of a movement to protect your friend or to help that person. But there's another aspect to it actually. Is we're not allowing that person to worry. Don't worry. It's as if your friend, for example, wants to go into a car and drive away, and you say, "Don't drive." You notice? It's the same thing. You say "don't," and then what not to do behind the "don't." If you're happy and your friend comes and says, "Don't be happy," basically telling you that you should not be feeling what you are feeling. Putting aside the fact that you are worrying right now, trying to just simply get rid of it. In other words, I don't want to experience you worrying right now. It's inconvenient. In many, many cases we say, don't worry to our friend because it's inconvenient for us that that person is worrying, isn't it? It's us that seem to have a problem with the other person worrying. Therefore we say, don't do that. It makes me uncomfortable. Be happy instead. I can benefit from that much more. I'd be much more happy if you were happy. But you're worrying right now. You're kind of poisoning the atmosphere with your worries, and I don't appreciate that, so please stop it. Makes me feel uncomfortable that you're worrying. And then it looks really nice, and it looks very comforting if we go to that other person and say, don't worry. There's no reason for you to worry. It's all right. It's going to be fine. Hush, hush. Be quiet. And be happy. Be nice. Be agreeable. Make me comfortable, please. Because your worrying makes me uncomfortable. And we do that also to ourselves, right? What do you do to yourself when you're worrying? You give yourself 100 and thousands of tips of how to get out of this. Really uncomfortable, I'm worrying, it doesn't feel good. How can I stop this? You go online, you Google how to stop worrying. I'm worrying too much. I don't want to worry so much. Well, but you do. And now you're also worrying about the fact that you're worrying. It's the famous dog biting its own tail. It's worry turning around itself. Oh my God, I'm so full of worries. Something is wrong with me. I shouldn't be worrying so much. Everybody around me is happy. They're singing and skipping and dancing the whole day. It's just me. What's wrong with me? So much worrying all the time. Well, nothing is wrong with you. It's perfectly okay to worry. That's the first step, to honestly assess the situation. There's worrying. But then usually we realize that we are worrying and immediately try to push it out. Not that doesn't belong here. It's dirty, it's stinky, it's smelly. Get out. I don't like to worry. I should be happy right now. Let me go through a list of things that I should be grateful for. I'm grateful for having legs, I'm grateful for having a car, I'm grateful for having a house, I'm grateful for having a food, but I have trouble in my work. And I'm really worried about that. I'm worried about losing my job, I'm worried about losing my relationship. I'm worried about the current politics, I'm worried about whatever it is that we are worried about, right? We try to just simply push it out, and that is not a solution. At least not always. Sometimes pushing out is a solution too. Sometimes just forcefully suppressing something is a good solution. It's not always bad. You want to punch someone in the face, you can suppress that. Don't punch. You'll be better off afterwards. There's less to regret afterwards. So it's good to suppress some things, right? But with worrying, sometimes you can suppress it by diverting your attention to something else, for example, by thinking about what you're grateful for or something like that. But in most cases, your worries want to be appreciated. They want to be seen, first of all, recognized. They want to be seen that they're there. They have a right to exist, so to say. And so when we're approaching worrying like this, and something strange happens, next time you're worrying, you can observe this for yourself. Next time you're worrying about something, give your mind permission to worry. You can even sit down and give it like 15 minutes to worry. Those are your 15 minutes. You can worry as much as you want. Go ahead. You're totally free to worry. Tell your mind. And then sit down 15 minutes and stick to your word. Give your mind the dance floor. Let it dance. Let it worry as much as it wants to. And watch it worrying. It wants to show you how good it can worry. Like a little child that wants to show you what it has painted. Look, I've painted a picture. It just wants you to appreciate that, that's all. And your mind is quite similar. It says, look, I'm worrying about something. And then it wants to dance a little bit and go through scenarios and stuff. And imagine a terrible future. It's all going down the hill from now on. It's going to be horrible. Let your mind go through these thoughts for a while. There's this instinctive resistance that we have all the time towards what we are feeling. There's an immediate don't. No, I shouldn't be feeling that. It doesn't feel good, so I want to just get rid of it. Without ever investigating it. Like this, wisdom cannot arise. If we are rejecting very vital parts, learning opportunities for inner growth and expansion, we will not experience that expansion if we reject those things. If we reject worry right there, that's an opportunity lost. Opportunity to be kind to yourself. And then the magic happens. If you allow yourself to worry, try it out. Let me know what happens. You can write it down in the comments or write me an email. What is happening if you leave your worrying mind alone? You just let it worry. And you're engaging those worries with mindfulness. You're letting it worry while watching it. That's important. You don't want to get lost in your worries. That's the other extreme, right? This is like really going into your head movie, completely losing any perspective. That's also not what we should practice. Not getting pulled into your worries and not resisting them. Just simply leaving them alone. Let your mind spin around itself for a little while. However long it needs to. And then it will, after a while, stop. It sees its own activity as pointless. The dog realizes that it's trying to get its own tail all of a sudden. All you need to do is just wait for the dog to realize. After a while of enough spinning, it'll understand. It's my own tail. Maybe it needs to bite its own tail to realize that, each time I bite, it hurts myself. And worrying is the same way. It spins around itself, it goes through scenarios, and you can learn from that. For example, you can learn how you can change your thinking just by observing it. Your mind going through horrible future scenarios. Try turning it around. Why not go through amazing future scenarios? Fact is that we don't know what's going to happen. We just consider, it's going to get much worse based on what I've experienced in the past. And many people limit themselves by that. They assume that what they will go through in the future is the same thing they went through in their past. So we keep reliving our yesterday all the time. Because we're not considering that there might be other options, other ways of thinking about things. Not even saying drop your thoughts. You can use your thinking wisely. For many people, that's the first option. For most people. Using our thoughts in a wise way. So how can you turn it around? What if it's going to be awesome? Like you have a meeting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and you're really scared, you're not prepared, and what if it all goes downhill and you lose your job as a result? And that option makes you really freak out. It gives you fear. Makes you really uncomfortable. You're charging your whole outlook with a very unwholesome state. You're giving this meeting all the negative energy that you have. And that's how you will approach the meeting in the next morning. You have visualized an outcome. And you have felt emotional about your visualization. It's super powerful. And if you don't see what's going on, then it is super unskillful. It'll not serve you. What could be better then? What kind of thinking could be better? What if it is awesome? What if it's precisely the fact that you haven't been prepared that's going to speak to those people tomorrow at the meeting? Maybe it's precisely that point that will touch them. When you're not prepared, but you delivered an amazing speech, you came across really honest. And that's precisely what they needed. They needed to see you in a very honest situation, not in this prepared, fake kind of mask way, but in that really honest and open way, unprepared, yet skilled at what you do. Maybe you didn't find the perfect words, but maybe they don't need you to find perfect words. You never know. Fact is, we don't know the future, we don't know the outcome, but you can only know how you're feeling about the future right now. You can only know how you're feeling in general right now. And that is the cause for the future. Because your current actions are coming out of your current emotional state, your present feeling state. And if you can adjust that, then you're starting to really take control over your life. You're taking control over your mind. That is a very important part of practice. I'm very often speaking about letting go. That is one aspect. Cultivation is the other. Working with your mind, understanding its ways, learning to ride it, to tame it, to make use of it. The mind is an amazing tool, led by kindness, compassion, intelligence, virtue. It's a very powerful tool. Can change the world. But if the mind is out of control, if it does whatever it wants to, if it controls your current state, then it will repeat your yesterday again and again and again. So most people are slaves of their past because they never see what their mind actually does. Worrying is one such example of being a slave to your past. So how to transform it? As I said, learn to receive it first of all as the first step. Not don't worry, but there is worry. Worrying is like this. Study it, understand it, observe it, learn from it, watch it. Get to know that state well, so you can understand it, transform it, or transcend it. But if you decide to push it away, you will not learn from it. It'll come back. It'll come back again and again and again until you learn from it. Until you decide, well, there it is again, I'm worrying again. This time I don't decide to push it away, but I decide to accept it and watch it. That's a certain skill that you develop in meditation. The ability to sit with your own restlessness, with your own disturbed mind that brings up so much stuff that is so overwhelming sometimes. Learn to be with that. That will take you time. And it will take you consistency. You have to do that every day. To be with yourself, quietly. To not run away from yourself. Don't worry is a form of running away. Don't feel what you're feeling right now. You should be feeling like that. And then you have this amazing imagination of how you should be feeling. It's not about the should. Forget the should. But learn from what is. That's the way to improve. If we ignore what is for the sake of what should be, you're working with a hologram. It's not tangible. You're working with fantasy pictures. It doesn't help anything. It's not about what should be. It never was, and it never will be about what should be. It's always and only exclusively about what is, in terms of spiritual practice, in terms of changing the world, in terms of helping someone else. You have to start from here, from now. If your friend worries, what do you want to do? Give them permission to worry, first of all. You can do that explicitly. You can tell them, you're welcome to worry. I totally understand that you're worrying. I would worry too. Well, that's it. Your friend will feel understood right now. Not negated. Not refuted. But understood. Welcome. You're welcome with all your states. You're welcome with your worries, with your pain, with your fear. You're welcome with all the dirt that's there. All the grime, you're welcome with that. And you're also welcome with all your joy, your love, your kindness, your happiness. That anyways. But all of you is welcome. I'm not partial about that. If your friend senses that, that is already healing. Wow, I'm totally welcome. I can totally be myself. I don't have to be ashamed because I'm worrying. I don't have to hold up a mask and pretend that everything's fine, I'm doing great. Hey, smiley, smiley, happy songs, everything is awesome. A real friend, you can just be yourself. That in itself is healing already. You don't have to be happy all the time. That's enough stress that we have with that already. We constantly need to perform and function well in society. Outside, we always need to keep our guard up. Constantly. Looking professional, looking like adults, like CEOs, looking like we are in control. When we are not. We can't even control our own thoughts. The most inner thing, right? And that's what most close to you. You can't even control that. Let alone other people's thoughts and how they feel and what they go through. Impossible. But you can give them a real chance to relax by allowing them to go through what they go through. So if someone worries, first thing, allow them. You have my full permission to worry. Knock yourself out. Be my guest. And then receive their worrying, hear them out, listen to it. Not with a full head, full of advice, full of ideas of what they could do better, but with quietude. A silent, kind heart. Very often that is enough. And in that silence of your listening, of your genuine, honest listening, something can arise. I call that the wisdom that arises from silence. And very often I have observed that when I'm just listening to someone like that they come up with their own answers all of a sudden. They spin around for a little while. I let them spin around. They keep repeating themselves, and then there's this moment of when they have said all they needed to say, then there's this moment of awkward silence. Then the awkward silence turns into reflection. The reflection, silent reflection, not overthinking anymore. You're done with that. And out of that, I know what to do. Suddenly there is your own innate wisdom speaking up because you gave enough space and time to bear with yourself, to stay with yourself patiently, with a nice attitude. Okay, first of all, it's normal to worry. We all do it. Can you allow someone else to worry? And when you allow them and you stay quiet, you have many, many stories in which silence was the most transformative answer you could have ever given. And people go through a process in silence. It's powerful if you're quiet with someone, but kind, not condescending quietude, but kind. Not judgmental, kind. It's like really allowing a person or enjoying them, enjoying as they go through their healing process. Just enjoy. At first, they go through this outrage. Oh my God, me and my problem. Then at some point they have said enough. They recognize that they constantly spin around it. And then suddenly they realize, well, I don't know what's going to happen. And then a relaxation process starts. It's wonderful to watch. But if you immediately give some advice and you say, hey, shh, be quiet, don't worry, here's the way out, you rob another person of their chance to understand something profoundly within themselves. You take it away from them. You take a chance away from them. It looks good, it looks noble, it looks nice and kind. But what you do is you're taking their chance to understand something. And silence is kind of like you're simulating that attitude that they could have towards themselves next time when they worry. They learn from that. Silence can be transferred to another person. My teacher does that all the time. Very often just remains quiet. And then I come with all of my worries and all of my stuff. And he would give these very short answers. Or just be quiet, Or just answer with a smiley or something. Not much. But enough to make me see myself. Wow. I'm spinning around that thought. And I don't have to do that anymore. That's my chance. No instruction needed. So this is a gift you can give to other people, your silence. But first and foremost, you have to give it to yourself. You have to keep up and stay with yourself when you don't want to. That's when it's most powerful. Staying with yourself when you don't want to, when all you want to do is run, distract, sleep, read something, or turn on your phone. Stay. Anyways, looking enough into our phones already, constantly. So unnecessary, but it's just a sign that we are uncomfortable with ourselves, obviously. You turn off all the distractions, there it is. Nobody to talk to, no device to look into, no magazine, no newspapers, no radio even, nothing. Then you will see very directly, oh God, feeling so uncomfortable. Why? It must be because of the view. It must be because there is no view. It must be because there are no other people. No, it's not because of anything outside of yourself. I can guarantee you that. It's because we don't know what to do with ourselves. Helpless. And that's what we learn. Stay with your worries. Receive them. Learn how to be kind to them. How can you be kind to them? You have to find out, right? I can't do this work for you. I can only point there. I can only say, you got to sit down and go through the hard work of finding out how to be kind to your worries. Write a diary. See what works. Check through it. You be kind of scientific about it. So today I will try to write it down before you sit, and then you try. Sit for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. Quietly just be, and then the worrying comes up, the stress comes up. Now, try. Does it work? Whatever you came up with, whatever ingenious idea you came up with, how to deal with your stress, try, put it to the test. That will sharpen and broaden your wisdom. That will be your toolbox with which you can help other people eventually. Reading a book about how to be more confident or how to worry less doesn't equip you with the tool necessary to help other people. I guarantee you that. You can make online courses about that. It will not equip you with the tools that you need to help other people. What really equips you with the tools that help other people is when you go through the hard stuff and you find a solution of how to deal with it. Out of your own wisdom, your own willingness to put up, to learn from it, to transform it, to work with it, to play with it. It's very playful. Not really serious at all. It's very playful. It's a very joyful path. So, instead of telling someone, don't worry, maybe you can change your habit to, hey, be my guest. Here you are totally free to worry. In this car, you're totally free to worry. In this house, you can worry as much as you want. All of your worries are welcome here. Totally different, isn't it? Thinking outside of the box. While everyone else thinks worrying is bad, need to kill it. Fast. You've got to think outside of the box, right? We all think worrying is bad. It's an enemy. No, it's an opportunity. Opportunity to understand yourself, opportunity to grow and expand, and an opportunity to help others. If you can help yourself. It's very joyful. It's a nice thing. That's why I always say, it's playful. So here you are free to worry, you are free to be you, to be a human being with human emotions, the whole range of them. And play with it, learn from it. This is pretty much all that comes to mind for today. Don't worry, be happy.